Hello, welcome to Malt, the non-chill filtered whisky blog. I'm Andy and this is whisky review number 51. What I have for you today is a stalwart, shall we say, of Islay whisky, and it comes in the form of this. And this is the Caol Ila 12-year-old. So basically on the blog last week I put up a poll, which I tend to do quite often actually, with a few options basically saying what do you want me to review next, and I think we had 20 odd votes in total, so thanks to all of you that follow me on Twitter and voted, and this one. So I'm going to be looking at this for you today, and then next time I will be looking at the Glenmorangie Bacolta. So keep your eyes peeled. If you don't follow me on Twitter, by the way, fair enough, I understand, but if you want to, you know, no pressure. My tag is @maltbox. Nice and simple, straightforward. So, the whisky. Caol Ila 12. It's a distillery owned by Diageo. Oh, got a bit in the face then. It's also the largest distillery on Islay in terms of its capacity, and that is because it can produce around 6.5 million litres of spirit a year. And obviously, due to the amount of space on Islay, space somewhat limited, there are quite a few distilleries, but they don't tend to produce as much as this. So think of your Kilhoman's, very small capacity. Ardbegg's not massive. You know, Bowmore is probably the second closest, I think, in terms of size. It's also not a very pretty distillery. Where it's located is gorgeous, but it's a bit similar to Tamnaville in the sense that it's a bit concrete and Soviet looking. I do like the labels and the presentation of this though. I mean, it's been like this for years and they've not changed it, and I think that's quite good. So, anyway, that's the whisky. The Caol Ila 12-year-old is bottled at 43%. It is chill filtered and it does have added colour. You can pick it up for around the standard retail price, which is around 40 quid. I actually picked this bottle up on sale at Tesco for 30 quid. So, you know, you can find it on offer, you can find it for a decent price. I'd say quite a nice presentation. Similar bottle to Lagavulin, Shot Courier, in the sense that same group. Now, colour, it's neither here nor there, because it's just lies. And let's run with something, shall we? I'm going to go with Barocca Urine, because, you know, I have one every day and need I say more. So basically it's like see-through yellow. I'm not going to give you the whole pale straw, memories of glitter. It's see-through yellow. It looks like varying shades of urine, just the same as all the whisky does. So basically, in terms of the distillery itself, it's located at Port Ascaig on Islay. Now, according to the label, it lies close to the Loch Nan Ban, source of its pure mash water. The sea provides water for cooling and once brought steamers to collect whisky appreciated for its balanced, fresh style. It's been there for a number of years, as you can probably imagine. Not going to bore you with the details. In terms of in the glass, some nice legs on there. It's going down pretty quickly though. On the nose. It really is, and as I sort of mentioned at the start, it's an Islay stalwart, and it kind of epitomises a lot of the traditional and atypical Islay style. Iodine, seaweed, salt water, peat, but not overly peaty. It's not too sweet, it's not too smoky, sorry, it's not a massive hit in the face. I could actually go out on a limb and say this is probably one of the better Islays to introduce a non-Islay drinker to. I have a few friends who have started to explore malts, and I've tried to introduce them to Islay whiskies. You can't force them on people. If you like them, fair enough. If you don't, you don't. And they've kind of gone like, ooh, hang about, what's that? And it is sort of like a bit of a take it or leave it kind of thing. You know, not everyone's going to like the style, but this is already a lighter, softer Islay style. Mentioned seawater, salt, lemon, sort of lemon meringue pie, as well as lemon rind and lemon juice. There's also a really nice kind of smoked meat note to it, so think smoky bacon. There's also like a grilled fish thing going on, so like mackerel on a barbecue in summer, with some of that lemon squeezed over it. There's also, oddly but nice, quite a floral element to it. Think of in summer when all the flowers are out and you go in the garden, you get a waft, like a waft of pollen and the smell of flowers from the flower bed. I'm also getting, and this might sound ridiculous, so I really do apologise again if I'm going off on one. If you've got a lot of coins in your pocket and you've had your hand in your pocket with them, you've been messing about with them while you've been stood at the bus stop or something like that, and your hands end up smelling like coins or like 2p's. Sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? But I'm sticking with it. Again with the lemon, and there's also sort of creaminess to it as well, maybe. It's a really nice kind of upfront, softly spoken Islay nose, to be honest with you. There's like quite a lot of the, as I've mentioned, atypical style in there, and a lot of sort of cliche like tones and flavours and that you might find in other Islay whiskies. But they're not quite as brash, they're not quite as in your face as I think as maybe a Lafroig might be. A little bit of woodiness in there as well. Right, okay, so onto the palate. The mouthfeel isn't actually too bad initially, although it does get a bit thin. On the palate, yes, the peat is there, yes, the smoke is there, but it's alongside lemon again. There's a little bit of pepper. There's also that meaty note from the nose. Think of like a really nicely cooked like ham, like Christmas ham. Speaking of Christmas, there's actually a little bit of star anise in there, which I've not picked up before. And I've had quite a few bottles of this, because I think it is like something that the majority of people will have tried. And if you've not, I do recommend you try it, because it is one of those whiskies that I think, it does sort of set a standard. I'm not saying it's above and beyond and that is what everything should aspire to, but I mean it's a nice kind of like, it's a good leveller. It's consistent, and that's the key. Now, Caol Ila is actually in quite a lot of blends. So I mean, if you think of your Johnny Walker, like particularly the green label, it plays quite a key part in that. So it's not all of its production goes into single malt. The majority of it is 4 blends. That is the realistic outcome of it. It's Diageo are a multi-billion-pound company. They sell millions and millions and millions of whiskies worldwide. The majority of those whiskies being blended whiskies. Your Johnny Walker Red Label, your Johnny Walker Black Label. They all have Caol Ila in, and they are some of the best-selling whiskies worldwide. Not just blended whiskies, the best-selling whiskies worldwide. The smoke is there. It is again quite soft, but it's actually quite a sweet smoke. Very nice. That smoked bacon that I mentioned on the nose? Think sort of like a honey cured bacon. There is a little bit of that in there, something sort of tweaking it. The finish is sweet, medium length, a little bit of smoke, quite creamy actually, and you do get this nice mouthfeel afterwards. It's a really nice on and strong, I think. I'm going to try water now. Just going to put a teaspoon of that in. Okay. So as I say, it's bottled at 43%. It is chill filtered because that's what Diageo tend to do, and there is added colour because again that is what Diageo tend to do. And I do go on a bit of a rant sometimes about, you know, natural colour and E150 and chill filtration. A lot of distillers think that Joe Public, so we're talking aside, not necessarily whisky connoisseurs or whisky snobs, however you want to see us as a people, as a collective, you know, someone that will go into a shop, a supermarket, Tesco's let's say, and pick up a bottle of whisky, they think that if they pour it out and it's a nice rich hue, they will think that adds to the sort of experience of drinking it, a bit of sort of positive association with that, and also they think that you know, if they put ice in and it goes cloudy, they won't like it and they'll be like, sort that and put it off. But I think a lot of that is just down to sort of education. I think if the big brands actually sort of put it on the back of the packets, you know, if they did not chill filter the whisky and said, like a lot of other distilleries do, this whisky might go cloudy if you put ice in it, just do that. Just don't chill filter it, don't put colour in it, and just tell people, be honest, be open. I'm more likely to respect you if you're honest. Breathe. Right. So as I say, you can pick this up for around 30 to 40 quid. The general RRP though is around £40. So let's see what that water's done to it. In terms of the nose, it's actually got a lot sweeter. There's not as much peat on there. There's still that sort of saltiness and the iodine in there as well. A bit like, it's reminiscent of if you've been to the beach. We go to Caol Ila quite a lot on the Lizard Peninsula, and we do sort of like a lot of crawling around on the rocks, and you know, when the tide's out, it's a bit like when the tide's gone out, the sun's starting to bake the rocks, and there's like little rock pools left, and you just get a little bit sort of like drying seaweed and salt water note that you get while you climb around on the beach. It has flattened the palate out a little bit. It's not quite as complex now. Still the smoke, still the peat. It's still a little bit sweet. There's a little bit of that meatiness in there. The lemon's gone. The creaminess is kind of still present, but it's a little bit subdued, should we say. And there's a little sort of woody note to it as well. Finish, a lot shorter. Can't quite make my mind up about finish as to what is on it, so we'll go back to it. On the nose as well, I'm just getting sort of freshly cut grass. It's when you've been mowing the lawn. Or if your gardener's been mowing your lawn, if you're that way inclined. Yeah, smoky bacon again. A little bit of honey. There's the smoke in there, but there's a sort of a whisper now, to be honest with you. There is a little bit of sort of like a peppery note still in there. It is kind of earthy, herbaceous, you know, akin to the peat that is used to sort of, you know, malt the barley. Or dry barley. It's not, even without water, it's not smoky or as peaty as a Lefroy or an Ardbeg or a Bowmore in a lot of cases. It's nowhere near a Kilhoman, should we say. And you know, it's what I would probably put it at. It's halfway between. And I'm going to go out on a limb here, so don't tear me to shreds. It's just my opinion. it's sort of somewhere in between a Bruichladdich and an Ardbeg. It's sort of halfway. Maybe not even an Ardbeg, maybe a Bowmore, halfway between a Bruichladdich and a Bowmore in terms of its peat level, its smoke. And I'm not talking about Port Charlotte there, by the way, just sort of Bruichladdich 10, which is supposed to be unpeated, but to be honest with you, I've still got a little bit of peat in there from the original release. Love that whisky. It's kind of like a medical cabinet kind of note in there, like sticking plasters. Overall, it's a very good little whisky, and I do have other expressions of Caol Ila that I am going to get to. I've actually got a Gordon MacPhail. In fact, I'll show you. I'll show you what I've got. Here we go. Let's go off piste, shall we? Because I do think that it is a very, very good spirit in its own right. And I have tried quite a lot of whisky from the distillery. So we've got a 2001 cask strength Caol Ila from Gordon MacPhail. That's another Gordon MacPhail actually. Private Collection 2001, again, finished in Hermitage wood, and this is actually still shut. I don't know why, so we'll get around to that. But there are a lot of comparisons to be made between Caol Ila as a spirit, particularly older versions and releases. I mean, I've tried 30-year-olds and 30, I think it might have been 34-year-old actually, from Cadden Heads, and he was absolutely sublime. He was got to be one of the best whiskies I've ever tried. Genuinely, it was absolutely phenomenal. And you can actually sort of, I've tried Port Ellen. You might have heard of Port Ellen. If you have, then you'll probably know it's quite, what's the word? It's a very sought after whisky from a closed distillery, and I personally can find quite similar characteristics to older Caol Ila as I can to Port Ellen. And if I'm being honest, of the Port Ellens that I've tried, I actually prefer spirit from Caol Ila. You know, that's just me. So I will be getting around to review these as well. So I've one or two of them, and I do actually have another Gordon MacPhail Caol Ila knocking about somewhere, 2004 from their Connoisseur's Choice range, so I'll be doing that as well at some point. So back onto the 12-year-old, the official bottling. Do I recommend you buy one? If I'm honest, yeah I do. I think it's well worth it, and I think, as I say, it sets a nice sort of like range, as it were, a nice level for the rest of Islay. It's not quite as heavy if you want something with a little bit of smoke, but you don't want to blow your face off on Friday night and then have your girlfriend or your wife or your boyfriend sit next to you or your husband and say, you smell like a fire, you smell like a bonfire night. Then I think this is quite a good whisky to try and have in. In terms of score, I'm going to give it an 86 out of 100, and I think it's well deserving of it. It's a nice dram, very approachable, and as I say, I think it's quite a good entry level Islay whisky. So if you've got friends that are sort of a bit umming and ahhing about it, just get them to try this and see what they think. So on that note, thanks for watching, see you soon.